99% of coaching businesses are going to fail this year. And it's not going to be because the people running them aren't smart. It's not going to be because they don't care. It's not going to be because the market is saturated. They're going to fail for one specific reason. Meanwhile, the 1% who win are all going to do the same thing a little differently. So I've seen this happen for 12 years across 6,000 clients. So in this video, I'm just going to walk you through what the 1% are doing while everyone else is around them is grinding and earning less. I'm going to show you what's actually working now. So if you're a coach or consultant, therapist, doctor, attorney, advisor, anybody who gets paid for what you know, this might be the most important video you watch this year. All right, I'm Russ Ruffino. I'm the founder of Clients on Demand. In the last 12 years, we've helped over 6,000 coaches, consultants, and experts just like you build high ticket businesses. So this channel is about just, pulling back the curtain, showing you what we've learned from over 9 figures in high ticket coaching sales. So I'm not saying you're going to do 9 figures or 8 figures or 7 figures or 1 figure. I'm just saying that I'm going to share with you what has worked for us and what has worked for our clients. Hopefully you can learn something from it. All right, let's dive in. Now, here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. If you are failing, it's not because of your skill. You are not failing because you're not good enough at what you do. In fact, most of the experts who fail are the ones who are actually really great at what they do. In fact, they're usually more skilled than the guys who are out there crushing it. Let me say that again. The reason you're failing isn't because you're good at what you do, because there's people worse than you who are killing it. The reason you're failing is because of how your business is structured. That's it. Structure beats skill. Until you change the architecture of how your business works, you can work harder, you can post more content, you can buy more courses, you can binge more videos. None of it's going to work. Your structure determines your outcome, period. So let me show you what I mean. Most coaches and experts are building what I call a Franken business. So here's what it looks like. You learn content marketing from one guy. You learn offers from another gal. You pick up sales from some gal's sales training. Then you grab a funnel template from like Russell Brunson or whoever. You grab an email sequence from some copy person, right? And then somewhere along the way, you watch a free webinar from a YouTube ad and then you try to bolt that on too. All right. So now you've got all these different strategies from all these different people and you just kind of like duct tape them together. So it's like a monster. The arm comes from one dead body, the leg comes from another one, the head comes from another guy. And none of these things are designed to work together. And then you sit there wondering why the business won't run. So here's the part nobody tells you. Each of those individual pieces might actually be good. Usually they suck, but they might be good. So the problem isn't quality, right? Let's pretend it's not. The problem is that those different pieces were never engineered to work as one system. So when you bolt them together, it just all breaks. So leads come in, but they don't convert. Or people watch your content, but they don't book calls. Or people book calls, but then they don't show up. Or they do show up, but then they don't buy. People buy, but then they don't get results, right? Or people get results and then they don't refer. Makes sense? So you start patching, right? You add another tactic, you watch another tutorial, you buy another program. Every new piece is supposed to fix the broken thing, but it doesn't because it's the pieces that don't fit together. You're adding more parts to a machine that just doesn't work. And then it gets brutal. You start telling stories. You start blaming yourself. You start thinking you're the problem. You start thinking you don't have what it takes. You're not meant for this. God hates you. Mercury's in retrograde, whatever it is. Maybe you buy another course, you join another mastermind, you drop 20 grand, 50 grand, 100 grand on programs that are supposed to fix you, but there's nothing wrong with you to begin with. The structure was wrong, so the results were wrong. End of story. So be honest with yourself for a second. How many programs have you bought in the last 3 years that promised to give you that one missing piece? How many tactics have you tried that were just going to be the breakthrough? How many times have you said, oh, I just need to figure out this one piece, the traffic. I just got to figure out the content. And then how often did you actually find it? Almost never. Because the missing piece was never another tactic. The missing piece was the entire freaking operating system that your business runs on. So here's something I learned the hard way after watching 6,000 experts go through this, and this is going to sting a little, so brace yourself. Smart people are the most vulnerable to this kind of trap. Why? Because when you're smart, you can see all the pieces. You read books, you take courses, you consume content, you collect knowledge. And the more you collect, the more confident you are that you can put the pieces together yourself. pieces from one guy, tactics from another, strategy from some other gal, and your brain says, I can outsmart this. I can pick the best traffic strategy, the best webinar strategy, the best phone strategy, and I can build my own thing. But that is not how integrated systems work. You don't hand a watchmaker 15 broken watches from from all different brands and say, hey, make me one from these, right? A great watchmaker will tell you the gears don't fit, the springs are calibrated different, the parts won't fit inside the case at all. And that is exactly what your coaching business is right now. And here's the irony nobody wants to admit: the smarter and more well read you are, the worse the Franken business usually is, because you've collected more parts. So if Franken businesses are the problem, then what does the winning formula look like? Again, 6,000 clients later, I can tell you there's 6 specific steps that make up the architecture of a successful coaching, consultant, or expert business. If you miss any one of them, the whole thing breaks. But if you get all 6 in the right order, designed to work together, the business runs almost regardless of anything else. So let me show you what they are right now. Now, look, I want you to be honest with yourself as I walk through these, okay? I want you to think about which of these is the actual broken link in your business right now. So here are the 6 steps. Let me go through each one. I'll tell you what most people get wrong, okay? Step 1, you need a clearly defined outcome and a clearly defined target audience. You cannot market to everyone. You cannot help everyone. You cannot price for everyone. So you have to start out by being brutally clear on your positioning, exactly who you serve, and the exact outcome that you create for them. Now, look, most experts skip this step or they fudge it. They say things like, well, I help people transform their lives. That's not a positioning statement. That's a Hallmark card. All right. A real niche statement is so specific that the person hearing it has an involuntary physical reaction of, yes, I need that. So if your niche statement doesn't make your target audience go, oh my God, that's me, it's too soft. You see, strangers don't buy in the general. People will pay you 10, 20, 50 times more when you start getting specific. Step 2, you need a high ticket offer designed to create that outcome, right? Not information, transformation. And right there, this is where 95% of coaches fail, because they package what they know into a course, modules, videos, downloadables, a Facebook group. That's an info product. And info is worth almost nothing in 2026. Why? Because AI can create all the freaking information that you want. Now, you can't compete with that and you shouldn't try. What most people pay premium prices for is transformation, right? The actual outcome, real accountability, real coaching, real support that gets real results. So the offer is not in what you get. It's not in the 37 bonuses. The offer is in the outcome. Here's the outcome. Here's the vehicle that gets you there. So if you're selling content or information, you're already losing. If you're selling outcomes, now you can charge what the outcome is worth. You see? So information is worth almost nothing. Transformation is worth pretty much anything. Get on the right side of that line. The third step is that you need a predictable lead source. Now, look, referrals are great. Word of mouth is great, but you cannot scale either one of those. You need a predictable, controllable lead source. Now, for our clients, that's usually paid traffic: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Why? Because for every dollar you put in, you can measure exactly what you get back out. And when you know that, you can scale, you can optimize. You don't have to cross your fingers and hope the referrals show up. Now, a lot of experts hate this step because it does cost money upfront. But here's the math: if your offer is structured correctly, your paid traffic is not an expense, it's arbitrage. You're spending $1 on Facebook and making $2, $3, $4, $5 back. You see? Now, in order to do that, you need the fourth thing, which is a trust building funnel. People don't buy high ticket from strangers, they buy from people they trust. So, between your ad and your sales call, you need to build that trust. Now, the way we do this is with a 20 to 30-minute video that we call a masterclass. It lets them feel that conviction and borrow that conviction before they get on the call. So, by the time they get on the call, the sale is like 90% already made. They're not coming to be sold, they're coming to just get their questions answered and make sure this is the right fit. Now, the fifth step is an enrollment conversation. It's not a sales pitch. And this is where most coaches totally butcher it. They get on a call, they try to convince, they feel salesy, right? And so they're filled with doubt. That's not how it works, right? A good enrollment conversation isn't a sales pitch. It's like a trip to the doctor's office. You walk in, the doctor says, hey, tell me where it hurts. Then he does some tests. He looks at what's going on. He tells you, okay, cool. Here's the diagnosis and here's how we fix it. That's it. That energy changes everything. You don't have to sell. You just tell people how to fix it. And the sixth step is you need a delivery system that actually gets results. And this is the most important thing in the whole architecture. Because if you don't get your clients results, nothing else matters. You'll burn out, you'll get refunds, you'll have bad reviews, and you'll just, lose your soul, honestly. You need a step-by-step process. You need world-class support. You need real accountability, real community. You need to care, right? Without that, you're gonna have a marketing machine attached to a leaky bucket. Now, with it, your clients become your sales team for life. So at Clients on Demand, results are our religion, right? That's what we say internally. Everything we do starts with one question: will this get better outcomes for our clients? So you build your business this way, the marketing takes care of itself. But you build it the other way around, and you can spend the rest of your career chasing and chasing and chasing, and nothing's going to work. Now, here's the thing: if you wrote down those 6 steps, you might be thinking, okay, I get it. I need to install all 6. But that's not the magic, right? The magic is not in the steps themselves. The magic is in something else entirely. And this is the part that took me years to figure out the hard way. So I'm just going to tell you something I don't share very often, all right? Early in my career, before Clients on Demand even existed, I had to learn this lesson the hard way. I was selling like $27 ebooks. And in one weekend, I sold a few thousand of them. I made about 60 grand. Now, from the outside, that looked like a win. From the inside, it was hell. The next morning, I woke up. There was hundreds of support requests, a lot of them from people who didn't even read the ebook. They were like, hey, can you just like boil this down for me, man? It's 20 pages long. I don't have time for that. Which page should I focus on? Bro, I don't have time to read this. Can I have a refund? It was like insane. It was absolutely insane for like $27. Okay. So I remember sitting there at my kitchen table with a cup of coffee and I was just fried. And I was like, I don't want to do this, right? 60 grand or no 60 grand. I don't want to do this. But I asked myself one question: what if I raised my prices dramatically and only worked with a handful of clients? What would happen then? Right. And I bet to myself, you know, when someone pays $27, they're just not that committed. When someone pays $2,700 or $5,000, what would happen then? Well, I could work with fewer clients, could charge higher prices. I could really give those people a VIP experience. But most importantly, those people would actually show up. They would take notes, they would do the work, they would follow through, they would get results. They would become a referral machine. So I want you to understand, and by the way, that's exactly what happened, and I haven't looked back. So the information didn't change. What I knew was exactly the same. What changed was their level of commitment. And that single shift is the reason Clients on Demand exists today. 12 years, 6,000 clients, $100 million in high ticket sales, all downstream of that one structural decision to charge higher prices, deliver more value, and work with a better quality of client. So here's the lesson, right? An integrated system doesn't just produce better results than the sum of its parts. It produces fundamentally different results. So the parts on their own are almost worthless, but the parts in the right order designed to work together, for me, that was worth $100 million. So this is the part that most coaches just don't want to accept. They want to keep their Franken business because they've spent so much time trying to figure out every individual piece. Again, they got one piece from one program, another piece from another program, and they just can't bring themselves to throw out all those parts and install a real system. So they keep duct taping, they keep patching, they keep hoping. And then the structure keeps producing lousy results because those parts were never designed to fit together. And you might be thinking, I've already built, a funnel. I tried building a funnel once. It didn't work. I don't want to start over. And I get it. I really do. But here's the truth. You don't have to just start over. You have to start right? It's not working. So chuck it. Chuck it in the trash and forgive yourself because you did the best you could. What you have is expertise. What you have is what you know. Those things stay. We just rebuild the marketing according to architecture that works. So it's not a Franken business. You understand? And like, this. You know this on an intuitive level. Think about any complex machine. Like a Boeing 747 has 6 million parts, right? If someone hands you those 6 million parts in a giant pile, you wouldn't have a 747, you'd have a pile. Add another 6 million parts on top, you still don't have a 747. Add the most expensive parts on earth, still no 747. What makes the airplane fly is the engineering, the integration, the order, the way each piece is designed to perform a specific function in regard to every other piece. Without the engineering, it's scrap metal. Take away one critical component and the thing falls out of the sky. Your business is no different. There's just not 6 million pieces. There's fewer pieces. So the parts you've collected are not the business. The way they are put together is the business, and the life you breathe into it is the business. So if you don't have the right architecture, you don't have a business. You got a bunch of parts that occasionally produces revenue and constantly produces stress. So this is why people who are dumb sometimes build bigger businesses than people who are smart because they don't like married to defending all these little parts. They just do what someone tells them to do. And then the system works for them. So the over credentialed expert with a Franken business might have more raw skill, but their structure's not working and they don't want to fix it. The simple operator who's like, dude, just tell me what to do, who finds a mentor who can give them the whole system, that guy crushes it because the structure wins. You understand? The pile of parts is not the airplane, the structure is the airplane. So look, if this is resonating with you and you want someone to just hand you the entire structure, not just bits and pieces, but the whole thing, click the link in the description of the video and book a call with my team. We'll take a look at where you're at right now and we'll just hand you the game plan, not individual pieces, the whole freaking game plan. The link is right in the description of this video. If you don't click it and you don't book that call, you're just going to keep struggling trying to duct tape together a bunch of stuff that was never meant to fit together in the first place. Okay. Let's talk a little more about the difference between a business that works and one that doesn't. There's a layer underneath all 6 steps that determines whether the structure works correctly. And it's sort of the gas in the engine. And that's your identity. And here's what I mean. You can install all 6 steps perfectly. Your niche, your offer, traffic, your funnel, your sales, your delivery, and you can still get mediocre results because you are not putting the right fuel into the engine. So if you fundamentally do not believe that you're worth 5 or 8 or $10,000, your enrollment calls are going to leak that energy. Your prospects are going to feel it and they're not going to buy. If you don't trust your own expertise, your content is going to be watered down. People aren't going to book a call in the first place. If you have toxic beliefs about money, people don't have any money. My market doesn't have money. You're going to underprice and your audience is going to mirror that doubt right back to you. So what I'm trying to say is that your strategy doesn't mean anything if you're running on fear. Even the best architecture is going to break under the weight of the wrong identity. So that's why I've watched 2 coaches install the identical system. One of them crushes it and one of them struggles. The system is the same, the architecture is the same. What's different is the human running it. And that's the real work we have to do with our clients. Not just giving them the system, even though we do, it's expanding their sense of what's possible for them. It's connecting them to the work they were meant to do and the impact they were born to make and challenging those limiting beliefs. So when you imagine charging premium prices, how do you feel about that? Does your heart open or does it close? Right? When you imagine being the obvious choice in your market that everybody wants to talk to, does that feel like home or does it feel like fake? If it feels fake, that's not a strategy problem. It's an identity problem. And we have to fix both of those. We got to give you the right strategy, the right tactics that all fit together in the right way. But we got to build that identity too. It's not something you have to be born with. It's something you can build. Every time you charge what you're worth, you believe it a little more. Every time you say no to a bad prospect, you believe a little more. Every time you hold your boundaries, you believe a little more. Every time you tell the truth instead of dancing around it, you believe a little more. You understand? So identity isn't like just a feeling, it is an accumulation of conviction. And the architecture I just walked you through is what gives you the reps to build it. So here's what I want you to remember and write this down. Scaling does not cause stress. Scaling reveals stress. So if your business isn't working, just pumping the traffic and trying to scale it is not going to fix it. It's just going to amplify what's already there. If the structure is broken, you're just going to burn out faster. But when you install the right structure and you work your identity and do the inner work, scaling is like the most beautiful thing in the world. Because every new client doesn't just add more stress. Every new client adds confirmation that you finally built it right. So think about 6 months from now, right? You wake up on Tuesday, grab your coffee, open your laptop, whatever. You're seeing applications pour in, people from they've gone through your funnel, they know you, they trust you, they know what you want. They didn't show up by accident. They didn't show up because you got lucky and got a referral. They showed up because you have a structure that attracts your dream clients like clockwork on a consistent basis. You understand? You talk to those people, you enroll them, not because you pretended to be someone you're not or because you discounted your price, but because you have a system that works. That's the difference, right? That's what living inside the right structure feels like. Now, when you contrast that with how most experts live, It's bleak. Constantly worried about where the next client's going to come from. The voice in their head saying, hey, maybe this whole thing isn't going to work for me. Trying and trying different bits and different pieces, hoping that finally it's going to work. When you just need someone to hand you the entire system on a silver platter where all the pieces fit together because they were meant to fit together. You see? Stop buying programs from people who teach just one piece of the puzzle, because then you got to go to five other people to get the rest of the pieces. Work with someone who can hand you the whole thing and maybe even install it for you. That's the whole game. So here's the irony. Most coaching businesses were never going to work, not because of the people running them. You might be great at what you do, but because the structure sucks. And when your structure sucks, all you can do is grind and grind and grind, or you can just install the architecture. And that's what the 1% of coaches do. They don't win because they're smarter or they're luckier or they work harder or because they have some secret talent. They win because they're playing a different game. They're not just cobbling together some bike. They're going out and buying a Ducati. The board is right here. The rules are right here. You can play the same game that they are. The architecture is right here. The only question is whether you're ready to just stop trying to build an airplane in your garage and go buy one. And if you are, there's a link in the description to book a call with my team. We will show you exactly what's not working and we'll just give you the entire system, right? No hard pitch, no pressure, just a real conversation about your business and what's possible. And look, if we're not a fit to work together, that conversation is still going to shave so much time off your learning curve because someone's just going to give you the entire thing. But whatever you do, please don't keep trying to duct tape a Franken business together. Life is too short, your expertise is too valuable, and your future clients really need you. So subscribe to the channel if you got value out of this. Drop me a comment. Tell me which of those 6 steps is the one you already know is broken. I definitely read those. I will check it out, and I'll catch you in the next video.